Everybody, my name is Brandon Smith. I'm from a little town in Arkansas called Bismarck. It's close to Hot Springs, Arkansas, if you might know where that is. But I'm sitting in Waffle House, of all places, with a friend of mine that I met about 8.5 years ago. You may or may not know him. It's this handsome young
Who's
man
this
right
handsome
here.
young man? We got two handsomes. Okay, go ahead.
So, the night that we met, my family and I were camping at Lake DeGray, which is about a 15-minute drive from our house, and we needed a few things for the campsite, so they sent me into town, and I was on my motorcycle to make the trip quick. And I went to Walmart in the next town over. I was in there grabbing a few things, and when I came out, there were these two strange people standing around my motorcycle, just staring at it. And as soon as I got over to the bike, I got asked the question, "Is this your bike?" And I was like, "Yes, it is." And they started talking to me. They introduced themselves and told me who they were, explained to me who Danny was, and he started telling me about how he didn't see just a motorcycle, he saw the art, and he saw the artist in the bike. And just in case you're wondering what it looks like, that's the motorcycle that they saw. But one of the really cool parts about it is, I remember getting a text message from my wife just before I walked out the door. And I looked down and I read it and answered back, and I looked at the time on my phone, and the time said 8:42. I remember time numbers like it's nobody's business, but I remember it saying 8:42. And just a little while ago, Miss Dina asked me a question, and I answered her 42. So, confused the mess out of her. Had to explain the reason for 42.
Yes, actually, I want to chime in here for just a minute, Brandon. We were talking about our union, how Danny and I met, and the oddity of the dynamic. What is it? The geographical aspects of our union. How Danny was a local stable, and how I came all the way from Vietnam, and Brandon had the phone out. He was asking Siri, what is the differential between Pleiku to Maryland? And what was it, Brandon?
8,300 miles straight shot.
There you go. So that was pretty incredible. And I said to him, what are the odds? You know, just imagine this. If you take fate and chance put together, that's what you have, as Danny and I put together. And I said, what are the chances of all that? And he said,
42.
42. And I think that to follow up on the meaning behind 42, I've got to study it a little bit, because he was telling me a little bit about its charm. And we're going to kind of do a follow-up on that. But I want to get back to my story of, or not my story, our story of the whole meet and greet. When that was Brandon's recollection of it all, but I wanted to share ours, that when we walked out of Walmart, we saw this amazing piece of art. And we sat there and waited for almost nearly half an hour, waiting for a person to come out we wanted to see the personality behind this creation. But we had to wait for the phone we had to wait for the phone to charge to get back home. So it was also, yes, had it not been for that as well, we probably might have, yes. So sometimes it actually helps when you have low battery. So nevertheless, so here we're sitting here waiting for that individual to come out, and the moment Brandon came out, it was like, that's the guy. Even before he even came close to that bike, we just knew. And of course, you could see it in the personality under film here. But what we learned from meeting him and this is our second time of meeting, consider 8.5 years ago, we had this moment, it was probably half an hour long in a Walmart parking lot, that was just everlasting. You leave yourself feeling like you left your friend, long lost friend, after we left, and we just all felt this way. It was almost like emotional, leaving each other, because we just all had the same philosophy and just wonder. So here we are a few days ago. Now, Brandon, pick up for me, if you don't mind. You came in because of your work. And can you explain that and how it happened so last minute?
Yes. I just recently started work back down in Dallas. And the company offered me a really good job, and I moved down to Dallas. And I've been with the company for 2 months now. I'm their lead field technician for their service department, doing electrical work. Tuesday morning, just as I was leaving the office for my first call, I got about a half mile from the office. The office called me back, and one of my managers asked, would I be willing to go to Maryland for 2 small projects at 2 Walmarts? And I said, sure. When do I leave? Like Monday or something? They go, no, your plane leaves at 1:30. You're already booked. Hurry up and get packed. So I'm sitting at the airport, nervous as all get out, because the flying, it doesn't bother me. It's the takeoff and the landing. And the landing always scares the piss out of me, because as soon as I feel the wheels hit and the whole plane shakes, I'm just... But I put a post out on Facebook that I'm getting on a commercial flight for the first time in 20 years. And I was nervous, and on my way to Maryland. And next thing I know,
Dina
sends me a message or sends a comment that she was like, hey, you're going to have to come see us. You're going to be in our neck of the woods. So I get in late Tuesday evening, and I didn't have any clue as to where they were. And finally got 3 hours of sleep early Wednesday morning and went right back to work. And I was talking to a couple of the other guys that were at the same location, and mentioned that I was trying to see a couple friends of mine while I was up here, and explained to them who my friends were, and they started looking up Danny on Facebook, and they were like, well, hey, he's only like an hour drive from here. And I was like, oh, really? So I immediately started sending Facebook Messenger out to Dina and Danny saying, hey, I'm in Glen Burnie.
Seriously, you feel like our neighbors when you said that. It's just so close. So of course we all had to meet. And it was just so neat. Once again, we meet up at Walmart because that's where he's working right now. And there is just enormous amount of people in that parking lot. It's just visual stimulation all over the place. It's just jam-packed, as we all know. It's like 5 o'clock in the afternoon. No, it doesn't matter at the time. But Walmart's always really busy. And we haven't seen Brandon in, like I said, 8.5 years. And the moment I saw him, I'm like, there he is. It was just that, once again, I think it's old souls meeting each other again, all over again.
See, this kind of friendship is what happens when you step back and you let the universe take the wheel for a minute.
Awesome, Brandon. That is such a great response. And that's how we feel about you. I mean, how many times do we pass people every day in this, life that we travel with? We constantly, everybody's surrounded by people. But how is it that we connected in just that one moment, and yet still very connected years later? It just, I don't know. You're solid to us, Brandon. Thank you so much. For just being that friend that makes us feel special. Speaking of special, I did want to also bring in, can you please introduce your wife, Brandon, if you don't mind? Tell us who your wife would be.
Yes, my wife's name is Christine. We all call her Chris for short. She is feisty. She's the only one that I let get away with telling me what to do, other than my 2 little kids. And she wishes she could have been here on this trip, but we are planning a trip up to Maryland to come spend some time with Danny and Dina so that they can finally meet her and her meet them.
I can't wait to meet her. And particularly even something that touched my heart even more so when he was talking about there was an instant pop-up that happened on his phone. And he's like, oh my goodness, you're not going to believe this. This happened. And my wife wrote this amazing poem, and I wanted to give her little light to shine on. Do you mind reading it, Brent? Do you mind it? Okay.
Sure.
So it popped up like a year. When did she?
She wrote this poem right at about a year ago when we were living down in New Braunfels. And she was looking through some of her poetry just a little while ago, and she saw this one, and she remembers writing it and remembered that the way it described what the poem describes basically describes how Danny and I met.
So here it goes. Christine. Is Christine?
Christine or Chris.
Christine? Yes. I love that name, by the way.
So the name of the poem is Artists See Artists. Look at a painting. What do you see? You may think, oh, that's pretty to me. You may see colors, you may see light, you may see shapes. It may fill you with delight. You may see beauty, and you may not. You may see darkness, you may even see thought. But a rare few can see beyond the piece of art, beyond the image, and go straight to the heart. The whirl of their emotions, the pain of their scars, the passion in their soul, their dreams of the stars. They can see the hidden, the beauty from within. They can know them without ever touching their skin. Having truly a love that is blind is a gift that's most rare. To be loved by such a person should be handled with care. Such a beautiful gift as to be loved by such a heart is itself the most beautiful, the most precious piece of art. She reminded me when she wrote it and where she was, and she said, but makes me think of you and him. You two are loves that Dina and I cherish.
That is so touching, Christine. I'm telling you, beautiful, 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 and I'm really breathtaking. So thank you so much for sharing that. That was, you're talking about 2 couples who have struggled, who have climbed to the highest peak, and that's just how we see love. There's no barriers, right? No barriers or boundaries. And I think that that's probably what unites us really all together and what makes us so close is because we really see a lot of similarities. Brandon, it's a privilege and a pleasure to call you our friend, and thank you for the serendipity moment of you traveling all the way here on the East Coast. So we have this chance to be sitting at Waffle House eating
waffles.
Waffles, so we really didn't consume, but it was made for perfect art, right, Danny?
Yeah.
All right, do you have anything that you'd like to say, Danny?
Yeah.
Huh? No? You don't have anything to say? How about you, Brandon? What any lasting thoughts?
Ever since I met these two, and I learned who Danny was and started following him on Facebook, almost everything he posts, I have been more than happy to pass along and share with my friends. And every person I get a chance that appreciates art, even if they paint or draw or write music or whatever, I tell them about him. And I pass along his story. And for a true artist to see the artist in my bike really got me that night. So I made damn sure I was going to keep up with this guy for as long as I could.
Now you're making me emotional, Brandon. That was a great ending. Just like anything. Wow. I just don't even have words. Thank you so much. Tune in, guys. We want to tell you about 42, right?